Hi guys, so in today's video I want to talk to you about the harsh reality of what will happen once ADA pumps. And for me personally, I've been in ADA for a very long time now, since 2021 during the altcoin season that we saw around this point. And I made some money on paper, but I never really understood how to take profits and I never understood how crypto cycles work. So I ended up making money on paper and then not realizing any of it and just holding the bag all the way down, which was quite painful. And I'm sure a lot of you guys who were in the last run made a similar mistake. But what I did do was bring my cost average down as I bought all the way down throughout the last bear market. Again, brought that really low, and now we're starting to be in some profits now in the last few months. So that's really, really positive to see. But yeah, before that, just need to make a point that there's a quick disclaimer, guys. Please read this with care. This video is not financial advice. Crypto is volatile and highly risky. No results are guaranteed. This content is for experienced users only, and there's a full legal disclaimer in the description below. Right, so yeah, just to mention, ADA was at $3.10 at the peak of the last run, and the bear market low was 25 cents. So ADA essentially crashed from the peak down here, which is a 92%. So that is absolutely brutal for altcoins and all the holders. It's incredibly difficult to see your money essentially evaporate. But one positive thing that I have seen now is that due to the fact that we have all these ETF inflows, it means that in theory, it's not going to crash anywhere near as much as it did previously. Again, I'm not saying that it won't crash exceptionally hard, like even up to 70-80%, but I do think that it's now more adopted than it was back in 2021, 2022, etc. So again, that is a positive to take, but we are here at the end of the day to make some money. So let's get into that. The next point I just want to mention is that as soon as we see ADA pump, we're going to see the likes of Altcoin Daily. I know they're already posting about at the moment, but lots of other big influencers going to talk about ADA getting to $100 a coin, etc. So I do like Altcoin Daily. I think they're a good YouTube channel and I do like their information, but I think stuff like this could potentially mislead some people. Again, they haven't put a time frame on this, but again, a lot of people might see this like mid-run when ADA's at $1, $2, and like, oh my god, I'm going to hold it to $100. But the reality is that you are going to lose money if you're waiting for a $100 ADA. That's not possible. When you look at the market cap, you see ADA market cap, what is it currently, around the 29 billion, and you think, well, it's not possible to do 100x here, especially in this cycle. It would be a very long time before something like ADA can make those kind of returns. So yeah, just whenever you see these, just make sure to have, you're a bit conscious when you read it, so you can understand, is that real, is that not, so you can make a decision for yourself. Again, it's really important, guys, when we see ADA pump, to stay level-headed. There's going to be so many emotions. It's going to be really difficult. You're going to feel probably all kinds of emotions you've never felt before. That you'll be ecstatic. Again, in theory, if that is altcoin season, if it does take place, which in theory it should, but again, it's really important that we have profit-taking numbers written down in place so that you can eliminate that element of emotions, and just so that you can be here to win, because a lot of people will make money on paper like I did last run but never actually realize it. So that is really, really important. The next thing as well is, once you hear people who are not typically in crypto, just like everyday people, you go out and you get a haircut and they're talking to you about, oh, have you heard this coin called ADA? You heard this? Or like your grandma's like, oh, I've seen this thing, this crypto, it looks interesting, I heard it can do this, etc. So when you are hearing people like that, then you know it's a good time to get out, because they're not really in the know when it comes to crypto necessarily if they haven't been invested before. So that's just another kind of indicator to tell when the top is potentially in. Are random people who are talking about crypto actually talking about it now? So that's one thing to consider. Again, FOMO is going to be absolutely crazy. You're going to start to see other coins pump. You're going to see ADA pump, and you'll be like, oh my god, well, XLM has just done a 10x and ADA's only done a 3. Like, oh, I've invested in the wrong coin, and you might decide to sell your ADA and then put that into XLM and then try and chase pumps, and then that just ends up horrible for 99% of people. you got to remember, guys, you bought your coin for a reason. You did your research. You have conviction in it for a reason, right? So if you chase a coin, and then you put it into another one, what you will probably find is the coin that you originally bought will then start to pump, and then you'll be like, oh my god, well, I've just sold it, and then you'll try and buy back in at a higher price, and it'll be a bit of a disaster. So it's important to have conviction. Coins won't go up forever. Have these numbers written down. Stay level-headed when you can, and just use the information that you can. Again, really important to have a profit-taking strategy in place. Again, I recommend going with a 20% margin, which is generally, when it comes to something in the last cycle, you would cash out 20% increments as you go up and leave 20% for a moon bag. That's generally how you can do it. And that's what I recommend, because you'd make all your money in the first 1 to 2 investments out. You'd be in profit, and then you can leave the last 20% out for a moon bag, which you can leave. It reduces all the risk because you've already made all the money, and then it doesn't matter if you lose money on the last 20%, but that's the chunk you can make the most money on. So cheers, guys. Hopefully this provides you some context to where I see the market going.